You've probably heard the saying that less is more. But what if I told you that in plating, it's one of the most powerful design tools chefs and cooks have? Think of your plate the way an artist thinks of a canvas, or the director frames a shot. The space around your food, the parts you don't actually fill, can completely transform how the dish feels. It can make a simple ingredient look precious, a rustic dish look refined, and an average plate look great. And yet negative space is often misunderstood. Many chefs fear it, that awkward patch of white porcelain that looks unfinished. Or perhaps they worry it might look ungenerous or even stingy. But some of the best designers in the world, from Apple to Nike to Monet, have built entire visual languages on exactly that, the beauty of what's not there. So in this video, the first of 3, we're unpacking how negative space works, why it's so effective, and how it can elevate every plate you create, whether you're cooking at home or plating on the pass. In art and design, negative space is the empty or open area surrounding a subject. The subject itself is the positive space. It can be known by many different names. Some designers call it white space, others call it breathing room, and some refer to it as a visual pause. So whatever the name, it does the same thing. It creates this focus, calm and clarity. Just think of an Apple store, the wide open floor, the clean tables, the sheer amount of, well, nothing. It's all deliberate. That space makes the product feel more important, more desirable. Now imagine if every table were piled high with gadgets, the magic would disappear. The same principle applies on the plate. When every inch is covered with food, the eye doesn't know where to look. But when you leave intentional, empty areas, when you let the food breathe, the dish suddenly feels composed, elegant and confident. It's design minimalism in an edible form. Painters, photographers and architects have been using negative space for centuries. They've already done the testing for us. We just need to translate it into food. In portrait photography, a blurred background isolates the subject. For example, when I take headshots for actors or chefs, I want the eye to focus on the face, not to be distracted by what's in the background. On a plate, the same rule should apply. Give your star ingredients some distance. If you place a single, perfectly cooked fillet on a large white plate, surrounded by open porcelain, it instantly feels intentional. It's that emptiness that acts like a frame, guiding the diner's eyes directly to the hero. For me, chefs in fine dining know this instinctively. It's why they used oversized plates for smaller portions. The surrounding space is part of the composition. It says, look there, this is the good bit. Ask yourself when plating, does every element on this plate need to be there? If not, we'll take something away. Focus sharpens when clutter disappears. Minimalism is not about serving less food, it's about editing. The power of Nike's minimalism is a perfect example of this. Their campaigns often feature the single swoosh and a couple of words, yet they deliver an emotional punch. By keeping the visuals sparse, Nike directs all focus to their core message, that of determination and athleticism. Their ads use bold, simple imagery and plenty of open space, making them instantly impactful. Or think of a Japanese sashimi plate, a few delicate slices, maybe a small garnish, and a vast amount of negative space around them. The simplicity radiates confidence. Leaving space signals that the food itself is strong enough to stand alone. It's restraint, and restraint often reads as refinement. In visual design, clutter suggests confusion. Clean space suggests clarity. On the plate, that same contrast tells your diner this has been thoroughly thought through. So the next time you're tempted to add one more drizzle or garnish, stop. Remove something instead and see what happens. And if this idea of simplicity and restraint resonates with you, my book, The Plating Gym, goes into much deeper detail on these principles, helping platists build confidence, structure and create muscle to make those deliberate choices on the plate rather than defaulting to clutter. And if you want something quick that you can use right away, my Plate Like a Pro checklist gives you a simple one-page reminder of these ideas so you can put them into practice the next time you plate. Links for both are in the description below. Have you ever noticed how a great photograph leads your gaze naturally through the image? That's not an accident, it's composition. You can do the same thing with food. You could try plating off centre using the rule of thirds from photography. Imagine dividing your plate into a grid and placing your main item on the intersection rather than the dead centre. That gap of negative space becomes the frame. It gives the food direction and flow. A smear of sauce can act like a brushstroke, leading the viewer's eye, while the untouched plate around it provides contrast and calm. Just like a director uses empty sky to frame a lone actor, you can use the blank space on your plate to frame the dish's narrative focus. Every plate has a sweet spot. For those new to plating, roughly 2/3 food and 1/3 space feels balanced to most eyes. Or, if you're feeling brave or want a creative challenge, try flipping it. 1/3 food, 2/3 space. But be careful. It depends on the story you're trying to tell. Too little space and it looks cramped. Too much and it feels empty. Think of it like an interior designer arranging furniture in a room. If every corner is filled, you feel claustrophobic. But if the room is too bare, it feels unfinished. The right amount of open floor makes the space calm and functional. And on a plate, balance means every element has room to exist, separated by enough to be distinct, but close enough to feel connected. It's the visual equivalent of harmony in music, tension and release in the right proportions. Negative space doesn't just create calm, it creates movement. By spacing elements intentionally, you can guide the diner's eye like a rhythm. A beat of flavour, a pause and then a beat again. Imagine 3 quenelles placed along a diagonal, each separated by an equal distance. The eye moves in time like flowing musical notes. Or think of dots of sauce trailing across the plate. Their spacing implies motion. Those tiny pauses of porcelain between each dot are what makes the rhythm readable. Designers call this visual pacing. On the plate, it turns your composition into a small story, one the diner reads before they taste. Now here, this is where it gets interesting. Negative space doesn't just shape focus, it shapes feeling. A plate with a generous space feels modern, elegant, even luxurious. It whispers confidence. A fuller plate feels warm, abundant and comforting. Now neither is wrong, but the key is intention. If you're plating a refined tasting dish, use open space like a gallery, minimalist and calm. But if you're presenting a hearty main, tighten the gaps a little to signal generosity. Designers use light and void to trigger emotion. You can do the same with food. A vast, open plate with a single decorative garnish can feel poetic, while a dark plate with wide, empty edges can sometimes feel dramatic or moody. Now, when you master negative space, you're not just styling food, you're directing emotion. Psychologically, our brains crave clarity. When there's too much visual information, well, we just tune out. Negative space provides the pause that lets us see what matters. It's why a minimal Apple interface feels intuitive, or why a well-shot film scene can feel powerful even when nothing much happens. The emptiness is what draws us in. And the same happens on the plate. Your eye automatically focuses on the areas of detail, the food, while the rest of the plate gives context and calm. The result is elegance through restraint. Now, research in architecture and art shows that open areas often make us feel more relaxed and focused. Our brain associates empty, organised environments with clarity and quality. And that's why a tidy plate doesn't just look good, it feels good. It signals craftsmanship, care and intention. Negative space isn't the absence of design. It is design. It's the frame, the pause, the breath that makes everything else sing. So the next time you plate a dish, think about what you're leaving out as much as what you're putting on. Simply ask yourself, where does the eye go first? Where can it rest? What emotion does the spacing create? Those moments of silence on the plate are what make the composition feel alive. Now, in the next video, we'll take these ideas out of the abstract and into the kitchen. I'll show you practical ways to use negative space. From plate choice, to placement, to proportion and rhythm. So you can start experimenting straight away. Because once you understand how powerful emptiness can be, you'll never look at a full plate of food the same again. Click on the video here when it's out, and I hope you really enjoy it.